The second thing is power of command phrases. Okay, now what are command phrases? Command phrases are basically, especially if you're making long presentations, you want to be saying stuff that brings people's attention towards what you're saying. It's really that simple, right? So we typically, as trainers, often end up doing 1 day or 2 day workshops, right? So we're doing very, very long presentations to people. So people's attention span often, not just when you do 1 day or 2 day presentations, even if you're doing a half an hour presentation, the same thing. It's a little that like that heartbeat monitor, right? So their attention span sometimes spikes, then it goes down again, and then it's like this, and then again it spikes towards something, and then it goes down, their attention span. So this is the typical kind of attention span that people have when they're listening to a presentation. So what do these command phrases do? The job of the command phrase is to bring people's attention back to the presentation and the topic that you're discussing, right? And so these are some of the command phrases that you can use. You can say it's essential that you remember, and then say whatever you have to say, because the minute you say it's essential that you remember, you tend to listen to it a lot more. If you leave here with only one thought, if you say something like that, then again people's attention will be there towards what you're saying. Here is the answer you all want to know, right? If you can say something like that, people's attention goes towards it. Let me repeat that. And if you repeat something again, people's attention will go towards it. It's absolutely critical to understand that. Okay, now listen to this part. The fact is this. By the way, if you go back to a lot of the presentations and these classes that I conduct, you will see that I say a lot of these things very often, right? Because I want to bring your attention back to the slide. So I genuinely believe that a lot of things are critical. So I'll keep saying that, okay, this is something which is critical because I believe it. So I say it, but it's also a way for me to kind of get your attention back to this. And I'll say something that, okay, listen to this part. It's important, right? The fact is, regardless of what you heard before, first of all, the next thing to consider is the fact that another important factor, right? So all these things are very simply used to grab your attention and get it back to the presentation that you're making, right? So keep throwing in these words to get people's attention to things that are important. Okay, now any questions here, Runima?
No.
Okay, so let's go to the third part, which is ending with impact, right? How can you end with impact? Why should you end your presentation with impact? Just as you grab the audience's attention at the start, you must ensure that your conclusion is memorable. The conclusion is your last chance to make a strong final impression. It's an opportunity to persuade your audience to follow your call to action. An impactful conclusion should bring the focus back to your core message, right? Because very often we know that starts of presentations are very, very important, right? How you start is important. But what tends to happen in the start is that we're often pretty nervous right at the start. So even if you want to make your presentation very impactful when you're starting, it often doesn't end up happening, right? But by the end of your presentation, now you spent a certain amount of time on stage, and now you have hopefully a certain amount of confidence as you go along in that presentation. So at least ensure that you make a powerful ending.